Add some vintage mojo to your tracks with this free channel strip plugin. This is the Acustica Audio Eminence. And with this, you're getting what they're calling an ultra rare 60s British 3-band EQ. Also, you get what they're calling a Franken compressor. And this fuses a popular optical compressor and FET compressor into one. Now, this is available on Mac or Windows as a VST, VST3, and AAX formats. But right now, let's jump in and check this out. So what I have here is a start of a song that I've been working on. I had no plugins on here whatsoever. It was just the recording. So I thought I would add this channel strip to the guitars, bass guitar, and drums to see what it sounds like. So I'm just going to start it out with all of them disabled. And we'll give this a listen so you can hear the raw audio. So that's with it disabled. Now let's enable the plugins. Now, I haven't played around with this too much. I just sort of did some quick dialing in of these settings on each of these tracks, and I'm sure I could do a lot better job if I were to focus on it a little more, but I just wanted to get this video out to show you what you can grab for free. So let's just look at this track by track now, and we'll go through the settings of this. So let's start with our drum bus here, and we'll start with this on. So now let's look at the sections of this plugin. We'll start with the preamp here. You can see there are 3 different preamps that we can switch between, and it has to go on one of them. You can't kind of blend them together. You have to go on one of them, or you can have the preamp section off. So the 920 is from this EQ preamp. The 591 is from the optical compressor preamp, and the 612 would be from the FET compressor preamp. So you can just listen to your audio and switch between them to find which one's best for that particular track. Also, you have this oversampling button here that can oversample 16 times, which increases your CPU usage, but it does sound a lot nicer. And then down here you have this mid side knob. So if you want it to be more narrow, you would turn it all the way to the left. If you want your audio to be wider, you would go all the way to the right, or somewhere in between if you want. And then of course you have your panning left and right down here. You have input trim here. You have an input trim control. And now you can see we have our 3-band EQ here. So you have your 10 kilohertz. And you can either attenuate it by turning it to the left, or increase this frequency by turning it to the right. And down here, you have your presence control, so you can switch between whatever frequency you want in here. And again, turn it to the left to attenuate, turn it to the right to increase. And then down here at the bottom, you have your 60 hertz, and you can attenuate or increase. Plus, you have this button down here, so you can turn the EQ off totally if you just want to use this as a compressor. So now let's look at our compressor here. You have your typical settings, your attack, release, ratio. Then you have this Schmod knob, which I think adjusts the optical compressor. And there's also a filter for it as well. And then your threshold. And then this SOA, which I think is for the FET compressor. Plus you also have a dry wet mix knob and some makeup gain over here. And of course you can turn off your dynamics altogether if you just want to use this as an EQ. Then in the middle you have your gain reduction meter, and over here you have an output control with an output meter there. Now let's just check this out on our bass guitar here. Again, add some character in there and it takes away the frequencies that I want, so this will sound good in the mix. Here it is in the mix. That's how I like my bass guitars to sound. I like to have them a little more mid-rangey and not so much in the bassier area to muddy up the mix. And now let's just look at our guitar track here quickly. Now this is on my guitar bus, so I actually have two guitars feeding into there, and they're panned hard left, hard right. Let's give this a listen now. Really cleans up the guitars. It adds that nice sort of vintage flavor to it. And what I really like is this mid-side knob here, so I can spread that stereo image a little bit more and widen the guitar sound. I like to do that on my guitars, and I think it adds a nice vintage character. Now, one thing I will say about this is it seems to use a lot of system resources. So if you're wanting to use this on every track in your project, you might want to go through one by one, then freeze or render down each track individually and add that separately, just so you're not using a ton of your system resources. If you just want to add a little bit of vintage flavor to your tracks, this is a great plugin to do that, and it's free, so why not grab it? Now check out some of the best free VSTs that were released in 2021 by clicking the video on the screen. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you so much for watching. For Audio Tech TV, I'm Zane. Keep creating, and we'll talk soon.